So let's start with that Peach Bowl matchup. Number 4, Ohio State versus number 1, Georgia. Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite in this game, and that's wild to me if you take a look at the rosters, right? So check this out. These are the 2 of the 3 most talented football teams in the entire country, and it really is an evenly matched group on both sides of the ball at all times. I'll give you an understanding of what I'm talking about here. UGA has 15 5-stars, which is ridiculous. Ohio State has 14, which is also ridiculous. There are 53 4-stars on Georgia's team to 52 for Ohio State. There are 17 3-stars on Georgia's team to 16 for Ohio State. Georgia features the second best scoring defense in football. Ohio State features the second best scoring offense in football. That in and of itself says 6.5 points is a lot, but this is why we watch the football games, right? If we've been watching closely, we understand why people are betting heavily on Georgia to win and why folks are counting out Ohio State. And it's got really to do with the last 3 weeks of the season, honestly, right? We saw Georgia absolutely crank it up and go to work, put 50 up on LSU in an SEC championship game, and we saw Ohio State white-knuckle its way into the college football playoff after getting beat by Michigan for the second year in a row after having never lost to Michigan in the previous 10 years. And now we're at a totally different point for both programs, right? I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but it's also interesting to me that both of these teams also have a Heisman finalist at quarterback, and both of them have generationally talented head coaches that have expertise in one field or another. Ryan Day in offense, and of course, Kirby Smart in defense. So as I'm looking at this game, I wanted to come up with 3 keys to the game for each one of these teams that they absolutely must get right if they expect to win the football game on Saturday. Number 1 for me, right? We got to take a look at Georgia. You got to stop Marvin Harrison Jr. or he's gonna ruin you. That's just what it is. That's the only Biletnikoff Award winner playing, or excuse me, well, award finalist, my bad, award finalist playing in this game. And I think, he has deserved the opportunity to see if he can't go up against Akili Ringo and beat him man on man, because that's how you're going to win this game. Find a way, if you are Georgia, to bracket Marvin Harrison Jr. and force Emeka Egbuka and Julian Fleming to beat you, right? Like, for 2 years, UGA has feared, or I should say, has heard about the fear of playing Ohio State and has one of the deepest wide receiving cores in football. All I'm asking you to do if you're Georgia is prove it. Cool, we're going to take away Marvin Harrison Jr. And then we're going to see what Egbuka and Fleming and the rest can do, because if it really is that deep a core, that's it, right? You should be able to beat them up with anybody else. So stop Marvin Harrison Jr. is number 1. Number 2, you got to eat the clock, right? You have to do what Georgia does. And what that means for them is you are sitting on the football and you are methodically going through the playbook and you're keeping it vanilla and basic. The reason I put it this way is you can suffocate the Ohio State offense, right? Because if you make Ohio State sweat out the tick-tock and eat the clock, you're much more likely to beat this team. So you suffocate the Buckeye offense, and you can't really let them breathe if they don't have possession. Now, the Dogs are the rare elite football team without a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,000-yard receiver, because they don't really need those to beat anybody, okay? They have a rusher that leads their team with just over 800 rush yards, but they don't have anybody that has 150 carries or more. They don't even have a receiver, tight end or otherwise, with 60 receptions this season, because they just haven't had to do that. It underscores how the offense acts as a featured complement to what has been the best defense in football for 2 consecutive years. This also means that the offense needs to act like a good grad assistant and just not get in the defense's way, okay? Take what you're given, and then think of a punt as a way for, your defense to pick you up, because that defense is liable to absolutely put the shackles on this Ohio State offense if they come out lackadaisical and slow, as they have proven they can do in the second half of the season. So number 3 on this for me, right, is you got to load out with 21 personnel, and the Buckeyes defense will probably fail, right? 21 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 tailback. Let the Bash brothers, otherwise known as Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, go to work on an OSU secondary that was exposed in man-to-man and couldn't fill a gap if you gave them 100 yards of Flex Seal tape, okay? You want to put 6'7" out there and let him go. You want to let Brock Bowers go out there and let him cook. You can do this, and it doesn't have to be difficult if you let your talent do what talent does, right? My Jimmies are better than your Joes, which leads me to, how does Ohio State figure out a way to win this game? And the first thing that I think they got to do is, when they have the football, do not, I repeat, do not go at the teeth of that Georgia front seven. It ain't a winning formula for you. As much as I hate to say it, and I know Ohio State fans hate to hear it, your best bet here is bubble screens and wide receiver screens, fellas. Like, that's just what it is, okay? Penn State, yes, the Golden Flashes, had great success against Georgia with bubble screens. I know y'all hate bubble screens because it feels like a nothing play. But if you can get east and west to go north and south, you can pull that front seven out of the pile of humanity that they want to make in the middle, you have a better opportunity to go north and south later in the game, right? So you have to have your best wide receiver or receivers catch those wide receiver tunnel screens and catch those bubble screens and see if they can't beat safeties and outside linebackers to a point, right? And if you can do that, then the offense opens up, right? A lot of this comes back to putting 4 hands on Jalen Carter as well, because 4 hands on Jalen Carter at all times, because the 2 aren't enough to stop big time. It's just, we thought Jordan Davis, or I should say, I'll speak for myself, I thought Jordan Davis was worthy of winning the Heisman Trophy last year. But everybody else was going, he might be. But the dude next to him named Jalen Carter is a better defensive interior player. And my goodness, if that hasn't turned out to be the truth, that dude is absolutely that, the truth. 2 hands on that man ain't enough. You got to have 4 on him at all times, okay? Every run play needs to involve 2 men blocking Jalen Carter, the most talented nose tackle that is in the sport today, and he's got to get out of the way of your rush attack. If that means that you're going to try to read him on some sort of quasi-zone read, do that. Whatever it is, you got to account for him, especially without Travion Henderson playing in this game, who is your home run hitter at tailback. You're going to have to lead on the Mighty Mayan. You're going to have to lean on Dallin Hayden. And then if you catch them, right, if you catch an explosive play of some sort, you got to go fast. You got to pick up the pace. You cannot afford to let Kirby Smart get new personnel in there, because the only way that you're going to beat Georgia is by scoring quickly and wearing them out. You have to try to outrun them, okay? Because if you let them do what they want to do, which is plug every gap and make it really difficult for you just to see down the middle in between the tackle box, you're not going to win that game. Third thing that Ohio State has to do is the inverse of what I said the first thing Georgia has to do. Marvin the Martian is always down there somewhere, okay? Don't be afraid to chuck it up in the air, okay? The dude wearing 18, let him go win you the football game. He has proven that. Like, I love this play. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and point it out. It's the one where, where Marvin Harrison's knee bends the way that knees aren't supposed to go, but his knee can do that because he's a Martian. The rest of us normal human beings, we get separated in 2 trying to make that catch. This is the one that he made against Indiana on the sideline with the 1 foot in. Goodness me. Just ridiculous. All right. Again, while there are 29 5-stars in this game, there's only 1 Biletnikoff Award finalist, even if there are 2 Heisman finalists. Let that guy go win it. 72 catches so far this year, over 1,100 receiving yards, 12 TDs. Give him one-on-one opportunities and see if he can't beat Georgia in man coverage, because they will be in man, because the favorite defense of one Kirby Smart is the cat defense, which is my cat's better than your cat's. All right, Ohio State, you get to walk into Athens and try to do that. So what's at stake for Georgia in this game? To which I say this, dear Georgia, after 40 years, you finish the climb. You sit alone on the mountaintop, warm inside your Bastille, a banner praising what you did yesterday. You're peerless now, yes, but at this price, you are hunted. You are chased, and you are the bullseye personified. Against Kent State, you look lazy. Against Missouri, you look bored. This is who you are now, the favorite. Winning isn't celebrated anymore. It is expected. Can you handle that expectation? Can you maintain the mantle it took 4 decades for you to take? The changing of the guard has happened already. You are no longer storming castles. Taking a castle isn't the same as keeping it. The enemy is at your gate, and you stand alone. What are you going to do? Now, what's at stake for Ohio State, to which I say, dear Buckeyes, you are the team that lost twice in a row to the one you call that team up north. You are the team whose head coach has been compared to John Cooper and Marv Levy. You are the team whose quarterback has yet to win a championship of any kind. You are the team who was simply the best of the rest. You're the 4th team in the dunked on spot. But is that all you are? Will you back down, cower, like a false king standing naked and shivering in the distressed woods while the monster feasts on your people? Is it not the heart of Buckeye Nation that beats beneath yours too? Will you set the table in the enemy's hall, wait for the monster to approach your door, and beg him to enter so that he might know you as Grendel knew Beowulf? Are you not Ripper, Terror, Slasher, Gouger? Are you not the teeth in the darkness? Are you not the talons in the night? Do you not lust for strength and power? Can you stand at the door and shout it as Beowulf did? Are you not the Ohio State? See Saturday night. So my prediction for this game, it's no question Ohio State could have gone blow for blow for Georgia if the Buckeyes were healthy. They're not. It's going to be tough on Saturday to overcome, well, talented skill players and the loss of talented skill players, frankly. And you're headed into an affair where, yeah, legacy is at stake. So I'm going to pick Georgia because I think Georgia has more opportunities to make mistakes and still win the game than Ohio State, who has very little margin for error. So the way in which this game goes for me, if it stays under 30, that's a Georgia win. If it goes over 30, maybe we get a football game. And that's a game Ohio State can win. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.